So what's it like to be single? I was single in my 20s, other people were single in their 40s, and now we have a lot of people single in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Some people don't care. They've had marriages, they're all right, they don't need anything else. But when you really think of it, and because I deal in this aging population, having someone, whether you get married or whether you're just having a live-in person or just someone to be with for important occasions, is extremely satisfying. It's very healthy. A lot of us have dogs, and that's very nice, but there's certain things you can't get an answer back from your dog. So I have two experts who are going to help us figure out how you can find whether it's a woman or a man you're looking for. Jodi Meyer, Director of Florida Singles, and Cherie Samuel, who's Jodi's screening director. Screening director, that's good. Okay, Jodi, let's just talk about your organization.
Okay, Florida Singles, we have been in South Florida for over 14 years, and we're one of the oldest and largest personalized introduction services that is out there. So we cover the area of Deerfield Beach to Vero Beach, and we work like old-fashioned matchmakers, which means we meet and screen all of our members. All the matching is done by hand. So it's people matching people. It's not a computer matching you whatsoever. So we cater to people locally, as opposed to online where you can meet someone in New Zealand and you have no idea who this person is.
Okay, so Cherie, the job of screening, though, people, don't they fool you?
No, because basically what happens is I have a rather lengthy 10-15-minute conversation with them over the phone first to find out if they even qualify for the service. So I'm really trying to determine, first of all, if they're 100% ready emotionally to move on and actually meet someone and get into a relationship. I want to know that every other component of their life is also stable as well, that they're not struggling financially, that they're, in a good space, with their job, that they're in a good space with their family, that they're really ready to move forward and meet someone. So the chances of them actually fooling us at that point are very low because, it's only the people that are actually really serious about meeting someone that I actually invite in to actually sit down and meet with Jodi.
Okay, so Jodi, you've been doing this for quite a while, and this is do you sleep well at night, or do you fantasize, or do you think about this person? Oh, gee, I should have paired them up with that person. I mean, this sounds like it's totally your life.
Oh, it is. It's consumed my life, actually, but in a good way. I'm always thinking, I'm always looking, I'm always recruiting, I'm always living and breathing matchmaking, because even if I put someone together and it's a mediocre match, I've had clients where I've introduced them, no chemistry, but then that person introduced them to a friend of theirs, and they made a connection, they made a match. Did I do my job or didn't I do my job? I say I did.
And I think probably as we start talking about older people, 60, 70, 80, they are very nervous because their bodies don't look like they did when they were 30. They maybe have some other kinds of situations, and so they need to have confidence. How do you build that confidence in them?
Well, you have to understand, it is a different day and age of dating now and dating back if you were 60, 70, and 80, back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, or 80s as well, as far as that goes. So even the younger people that I see, they also have a different situation because the world has changed. But when we have someone who say is widowed and was married for 50 years, they haven't dated in 50 years, and a lot has changed and a lot has gone on. So we do counseling throughout your whole membership. So we're basically holding your hand throughout this whole process. So we help you dress better. We help you present yourself better. So we help give you the confidence that you may be lacking because you've just been out of the loop for so long.
And so you probably do some role playing. I'm sure you must do role playing, don't you?
Well, we don't do role playing, but when we get feedback from other clients, that's when we approach the client that maybe needs a little tweaking in his or her outlook or what they're wearing or what they're saying as far as that. A lot of people talk about the past. Well, guess what? If you're sitting across from someone who could be your future, they don't want to hear on the first date about the past.
That is so good, because I have friends who've really cared about somebody, and that person can't get over their spouse who died, and when they went to their apartment, all the pictures everywhere. What do you say to that person who, let's say it's a man who's really struggling and he wants to find someone, but you go to his apartment and see all that? Do you ever go to their home?
No, I don't travel and actually go into their home. They actually come into my office for a one-time visit, but I hear clients' feedback on they really liked this person, and then they went to the house, and then there was the shrine to the wife, and that made her feel uncomfortable, and he won't take them down. So when I'm in my consultation, I do say, I do ask a lot of questions to make sure this person is ready, because if he's still in love with her, what is the sense of me introducing him to somebody else? It just hurts basically both people. So what I say is, you'll never forget. You may talk about or think about this person on a daily basis, but it's not fair to the person that could be your future, because how can they compete? There's no room for both of them.
That's so true. And of course, we now have people who are divorced, and they could be bitter and angry, and yet they want someone else in their life. Well, they got to get rid of that bitterness and being angry. How do they do that? Do you help them?
Well, no, I don't accept them through the program. If they're so bitter and they're angry, then they're not emotionally available. They haven't healed. They haven't forgiven. They haven't been through that process yet. So once again, if I have a person that's bitter and angry, and I introduce them to exactly what they're looking for, that match will not connect, because they're not in the right place in their heart and in their mind.
And interestingly enough, a lot of those people that you mentioned that have those kinds of issues, that are bitter and angry, a lot of those people are online, because let's face it, it's very easy to just dive in online. You're very anonymous. You can just meet a bunch of people, and you can just, if you don't work on yourself, you can just carry those issues over. And that's why a lot of the internet dating doesn't really work, because you've got a lot of people that haven't addressed those issues. They're really not ready to get out there. They're trying to recreate something they had in the past, or they can't move forward from what they had in the past. And so that's why a lot of these internet relationships tend to fail.
Or they're married, or they're scam artists, or they're in prison. You really don't know.
Right.
And that's really what we filter out.
So do you find that people want mates or relationships of people with the same background, let's say whether it's religious or whether it's financial or whether it's education? Does it matter?
Oh, absolutely. Because my clients come to Florida Singles because they can be very picky and selective on who they're choosing and the person that they want for their future. So a lot of people really want the same religion, they want the same background, the same descent, so to speak, and so they're on an equal playing field. A lot of people who have a lot of money, they don't necessarily want to support someone. They could do that by talking to someone online who just wants to use them for their money. That's easy to get. They want someone who kind of brings to the table what they bring to the table. It doesn't have to be anything more. They certainly don't want it to be anything less.
And that's also the reason why, to actually use a matchmaking service over than online is because there's no one online actually matching you or listening to what your preferences are. So even if you do a full profile and you say, I would only like to meet people of a certain religious background because that's my background, you can go on these sites specifically for that and still pull up a bunch of people that are nothing in common with what you're looking for.
Because you can be anybody that you want to be.
Yeah.
If I say I'm looking for a non-smoker, I could have 50,000 smokers contact me and want to go out. There's nothing stopping them. And that's why when someone comes here and becomes a member, invests a member and invests in their future to do this for themselves and change the direction of their life, they don't come in and lie. They don't come in and say that there's something that they're not. They don't have hidden agendas. They come in to find the right person for the next chapter of their life. And that's why we take it very seriously, because that really is one of the most important decisions that you have in your life.
It's something you said, being a membership service, but I'm going to come back to you. I just want to give your information now, so if people are really chomping at the bit to get in touch with you. But let's talk when we get back about some of the online, the one that I think is so funny with the farmers. I just think that's hysterical. But anyway, let me just tell you that Jodi Meyer is the director of Florida Singles. Sherry Samuel is Jodi's screening director. The phone number to call for information, do not worry, you just call them. They'll send you something. They'll either make an appointment or you can actually go on their website. The phone number is 561-318-2333. 888-888-7789. The website is florida-seniors.com. That's Florida with a little dash, singles.com. Okay, so there's the funny, when I first saw it, I thought it was so hokey, but it's really interesting.
The farmer's website.
Yeah, I haven't been on there, but I meant just the commercial.
Well, you have to understand, there's a niche for everything.
But
Absolutely.
farmers want farmers, right?
Farmers, golfers want golfers.
It's a cultural, when you have similar interests, similar backgrounds, you want to find someone. That's why, there's religious websites for people that want the same religious background.
Bowling websites.
I know about religion, but farmers, I figured, okay, they're looking for someone that doesn't mind getting up at 4 a.m. and milking cows.
Well, if that's your background, that's all you've known and that you've been used to.
It's, it's the same thing, once again, going back to the religious. Sometimes we get people that say to us, it's not that I'm strongly religious or I'm a strongly practicing religious person, but if I get someone who's from the same religion, we have a similar cultural connection, and that's what they're looking for. So I could understand why the farmers would be a similar
Farmers are
cultural
people too.
connection.
And
exactly.
they're
Farmers are
important.
people too.
No, they are, but I was just trying to think of what they want in someone. I would really like to talk to a farmer.
Country people.
Yeah,
country
I mean, they're not looking for city folk.
Okay, sometime if you get a farmer that calls you, you'll have to bring him on, or we'll have to talk about him. Okay.
I've actually had someone
Ah.
who owned trees, but she was the owner of like a tree farm.
Yeah, that's not a farmer. I'm talking about real farmers, and it's interesting because I lived in Texas when I was first married. No, wait a minute, sorry. No, I lived in Texas after I was second married, but the first time I remember we owned a bar, my first husband and I, a beer and wine bar, and there are a lot of guys there who I could just picture. This one wanted to go back to Texas, and he wanted, this and that, and I could see he needed a special kind of a woman. So everybody has their own little thing, and yet we know that a lot of people can be taken with someone, and they have very strong feelings. They don't even know that person, and yet it still works.
Well, it's true, because attraction and chemistry, that hits right away for most people. You have to invest your time and your emotion to find out if you're truly compatible with someone. And a lot of people, if they have that strong attraction and chemistry, they don't really care if they're compatible with that person. A lot of people want it so that the relationship is long-term and they have a solid foundation and common interests. Other people don't care.
Yeah, it's the two of you. I don't know what you did before this, but this must be just an amazing profession.
It's great. It has taught me so many things about life and love and people, and every day is a new experience because every person, potential client that sits in front of me, I hear every detail about their life, about their marriages, about their schooling, about their feelings, and it really shows you that a lot of people have so much depth to them, and love truly is still important to most people.
And it's really nice from the beginning, because I talk to them on the phone before she even sits down with them, and to hear, what they've been through, and, maybe they're discouraged, the avenues they use aren't working. And then they come in and she introduces them to someone and they actually are happy. It's an amazing feeling.
Do you work in an open office? So if you have someone on the phone, you can go, I'm making a motion with my thumbs up. You say, oh, this is a good one, right? You can say, uh-oh.
Oh, I work with, I have 2 assistants, and we match on a daily basis, so I approve all the matches. So they'll come to me with the match, I'll be like, yes, that is excellent. Then they'll come to me with the match, and I'll be like, no way, absolutely not. And it really, it's not easy to match, because I could have someone on paper, excellent, exactly what each of them are looking for, they meet each other, no chemistry. Or I make a mediocre match with, let's see if this one will really work. They love each other. There's really no rhyme or reason why chemistry is magical. It's intangible.
I know someone that I was introducing you to who thought this was a fabulous idea, because he is very busy. He's a professional, and he doesn't have the time. And he's been through some women, and it really wasn't right. And he thought this would be an excellent way to have someone else do all the work for him.
Oh, absolutely. Since, we are 4 busy professionals and retired professionals. So while working and traveling and spending time and with your family and friends. We're the ones who are actually doing all the searching, doing all the screening, sifting and sorting, and making sure who we present in front of you actually is the type of person that you're looking for. Now, we cannot predict chemistry. So therefore, we don't just give a membership of one introductions. It takes time, and it takes introducing to different people that really have the qualities that you're looking for to be able to hit the right one.
Okay, so let's talk about age differences. We started out talking about 60-year-old, we could say men, or 60-year-old women. What about the cougars? Have you introduced women to younger men?
We don't do that.
You don't?
We'd match within reality.
Isn't that interesting? Because I have a girlfriend from the university days. She's married to someone for 25, he's 25 years younger, and they've been married for probably 25 years.
That's awesome.
And I'm finding it more, 10 years. Some have had children with this other person. It's something that I think's happened because women don't look their age anymore. And somehow men love older women, and I don't know how that's all happening. So you make that decision that you won't do something. I mean, there's a certain age range. I guess you could ask that person, too, how do you feel, right? That's another thing.
Oh, absolutely. And, of course, everyone wants to date younger because no one wants to admit that we're all getting older and there are all these wrinkles and all the Botox, and you have no idea what I see on a daily basis. But I can tell you that, for the most part, we match within reality. On the internet, I could be 75 years old and go out with a 30-year-old, and if that boosts my ego or he has a hidden agenda because I'm loaded, then that's why those two make a connection together. But once again, here we match within reality. Within, 5 years younger, 5 years older is a really good range because the people want to grow together. They want to grow old together. They want to experience life, and they want to be from the same era so that they have a foundation and something to talk about.
Have you attended weddings?
I've attended weddings. I've had engagements. I was in my office on a Sunday one time when someone called me and she said, I'm looking at a 3-carat ring. I was like, wow. I'm like, I can't believe I'm working on a Sunday, number one. I can't believe was here to get the call, number two. But it was a great, great feeling.
Oh, that is so nice.
You know, the thing is, too, because we personally meet and screen all these people, we really know them. So it becomes very personal, So we are thinking, about would this be a great match? We really want it to be a great match because we know these people. We care about these people.
And we want them to have success.
And it doesn't always mean marriage, does it?
The older you get, the more, as far as my members that are 60 and over, they're looking more for companionship. They're not necessarily looking to get married because they're not having children. It's not that whole same thing. And their economic value at that point is very, very different when they were younger. So they don't necessarily want to commingle finances or grow their businesses together. They basically just want to find someone to really enjoy life with.
Yeah, and I'm sure this isn't part of your job, but their families can either help or hinder them.
Oh, absolutely.
And do you find that out, so you discuss that?
We discuss it all the time. A lot of children don't want their parents to find another person because, it's they don't want to replace their parent that maybe has been deceased or divorced, or they really know that they're in line to get the money when the person passes away, so they don't want anybody else in that line. It's a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, I've always felt very badly about that, and I've actually been able to talk to some people, some young people who talk about their parents and they're worried. And I said, it's not your life. You don't have that right. Let them alone. And yet, on the other hand, financially, there are ways to set aside a certain amount of money for them and their estate. But it's not fair to make that unhappy.
No, and the parents, as sometimes as you get older, the children become more like the parents, and the parents become more like the children, and they, have to make all their decisions for them. And that's one thing I talk about in my consultation. Are your children supportive of you? Because if they're not supportive of you finding someone, it's going to destroy the whole thing for that person, for us, for everything.
And interestingly enough, sometimes I even get into that right on the phone before they even come in. I mean, that's how thorough, we're talking to people.
And that's probably because it is a serious problem, isn't it? It could break up something that could be so wonderful.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about dogs and pets. Pets are really important. I had a friend who loved her dog, and the person, she really liked this man, and he put up with the dog. It wasn't that he loved the dog. And I think as a dog owner, I wouldn't like that.
Well, let's put it this way. Dog owners, they love their pets like they're their children. And what I've noticed, in my members that are baby boomers, the older they get, they don't want to be tied down with an animal. They've maybe had their whole life taking care of, cats and dogs and this and that and whatever, horses, and I hear about all the reptiles and bunnies. And so it's amazing to me, being an animal lover myself, having 2 dogs, that they want to travel. They don't, I've got so many things to do. I'm like, you're retired. What do you have to do but take the dog out for a walk or feed it? I mean, it gives you something to do. They don't want that responsibility anymore, even though that pet could enhance the quality of their life.
Oh, absolutely. So, okay, well, so you certainly cover a lot of things when you're on the radio, and that's what I love so much about it. You have a great service, and I think that emotionally, physically, all ways, what you're doing is really a very important thing for society. I really admire both of you and your organization, because what you've said is true. Many people have been online, and then there are many who won't go online because they say, no, I wouldn't do anything like that. And they don't want to go to bars, and they don't, when they go to whether their religious organizations have something, whatever it is, it doesn't work. And I don't think there's been something like your organization. Before I really met you, after really knowing you, I would think people would be hard-pressed not to have something really good happen to them if they call you. So let's try that one again. Phone number is 561-318-7789, and it's called it's called Florida Singles, and you can go online to florida-singles.com. That's Florida with a little hyphen, singles.com. And you will be talking, as Cherie said, you'll probably, when the phone rings, hello, Florida Singles.
This
Can
is
I help
Cherie.
you?
Can I help you?
Yeah, I want to have someone in my life. And then you start your questions, right?
Right.
Now, something we haven't said, and I think it's important, there is a fee because it's a membership organization. And the fee then includes what?
The fee includes, number one, all the coaching and counseling that we give you throughout your home membership. It includes a certain amount of introductions, depending what package you choose. And then we have a lot of features if you want to be more involved, less involved, if you want to freeze your membership. So there's a lot of different packages that we have. I mean, but it's not cheap. It's not like online. It's not $40 a month. It's a one-time membership fee. But it's also not like buying a house or buying a car. And the whole point is, if I can match someone, I really bend over backwards to help make them a member. So I really, really focus on who they are and what they're looking for, and if I can help them find that person.
This may be a strange question. Have you matched somebody and then through either divorce or death had them back again?
Absolutely.
I thought that's...
How did you know that, Anita?
Question. I don't know.
I
Weird.
did have a young couple where she passed away and he came back, and they got married. And she passed away. They came back into the membership base.
Well, that says a lot, isn't it? Of course, that was so sad.
It's very sad.
And you introduced them to begin with, and then, that was really sad. But then, and were you successful?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody loved this gentleman. But, it's rare that that ever even
Especially
happens.
a young person like that.
I know.
But then again, once you use a service, and you realize how successful it is and how much better it is than online, you're not going to go back to online just because something like that happens.
Well, when you think about it, online is fairly new. Let's say 10 years, maybe something like that. But they used to do ads in papers.
Oh,
right.
The personals.
Right.
Oh, I have to tell you this example. It was a long time ago. We were on the radio show, and I knew a lady who was a PhD at FAU. I won't say her name or anything, but she probably wouldn't care. But and she wasn't really that beautiful, but she was very smart, very personable, and she kept wanting. I kept thinking of people for her, and I wasn't very lucky. And all of a sudden, her friends told her, "You should." And this is, a professor and a PhD. You should write an ad and put it in the newspaper. And she did. Someone helped her, and it was a beautiful ad, very large ad. Well, one man who never reads the newspaper about, anything saw this, and he was a computer expert. He was everything opposite than that she was. But somehow they saw each other. They came on my radio show and announced that they were going to be engaged, and they did get married. So this was a very weird situation.
Good for them.
But I mean, when you think about it, that's how people did it, through ads.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
But it was rare.
But
he just happened to see that.
Yeah.
But, the internet, too, 10 years ago was a more, I hate to use this word, innocent place, where people actually did the same thing as the personals and the classifieds, really sincerely looking for someone. But now it's grown into this thing where you have so many people out there trying all sorts of scams and all sorts of things that you have to sift through to figure out who's sincere, who's not sincere. It's a totally different scene than it was 10 years ago.
I know. I have friends that there's a site called Plenty of Fish. It's free.
Oh no!
And I know, and I've heard about all this, and it's like, and what happens? They get so discouraged they then never want to see anybody.
Right.
It just ruins the whole idea.
Well, they get
doesn't
disheartened. Then it's like it must be me. Their self-esteem goes down, and then the whole thing's.
And they don't think there's any other alternatives out there to meet people, and exactly.
Right. And yet, I do know people who've been married 2 and 3 and 4 times, and not because they're divorced, but because of death. And they just love being married, and they just keep going if something happens.
It's a couple's world.
Yeah, it is a couple's world. Well, as usual, we did something that helped people. Just imagine they're sitting in their home, and they're lonesome, and they want to do something better, and they heard you, and hopefully you will call, you will get on their website. If we did this, you will be on YouTube, so people will be able to see you, but you would not just be disappointed. I know you've been listening to my show for a long, long time, and I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. Go and do that. So thank you very much. I love having you come here.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.